All right, so I've been working on something a lot, a very large project, multiple phases, and I want to introduce at least phase one. I've completed an EFT course. If you're unfamiliar, it is a therapeutic, sort of polyvagal simulation or stimulation that allows the practitioner to engage more of the brain than just the amygdala when thinking about very difficult subject matter that would be triggering. So it's a healing modality that has worked well for me. So I did a course. It's Jennifer Harmony's course. You can decide if that credentials me enough for what I'm about to do or not, and I totally understand wherever you place yourself on how I'm not going to be registered or certified. I just want to learn and practice. But step one of this larger scale thing that I've been working on is to use EFT to find a necessary comfort in the experience of cognitive dissonance. And the reason I think it's so important that we are able to hold ideas that are uncomfortable or contradictory to what we would like to believe is I am seeing a lot of polarization, and the internet allows every one of us to go to places where we are just, we could all just hear what we want to hear for the rest of our lives if we just go to certain parts of the internet and try to ignore everything else. And the creation of these echo chambers, I think, is antithetical to making a better society. So I think we do need to be able to hold conflicting ideas, ideas that we really hope are not true, in order to have full conversations that aren't seen as adversarial arguments and are rather a discussion trying to find out what is true and how to better align ourselves and our society with the needs of people across the globe and the needs of the landscape as well. So, a lot of this will be uncovering things that I referred to as toxic hope, or things that Buddhism refers to as false refuge. So, as an example, one question to ask is justice a good thing? Now, I like the idea of justice. I think the desire to make the world fair is an honorable and equitable goal for a society to have. So, on the whole of it, I want to support the idea of justice. But I also have to acknowledge how the idea of justice has been co-opted not only for acts of revenge. The idea of justice has been used to justify violence in many ways. It's been co-opted to turn the idea, this mass incarceration, this it's weaponizing the ideology of justice and trying to make the world fair to do directly the opposite thing, and is used, at least in the U.S. prison system, as a means of revoking human rights, which is then creating victims, which the idea of justice is supposed to not do. We also see that justice has been co-opted throughout history many times to justify massacres, mass murders, even entire genocides. And that's why I want to have a lot of these incredibly difficult conversations, because we have to know whether law is more protective of people or exploitative of people. And the only way that we can actually ask these questions is if we are willing to sit with some very uncomfortable truths. So that's the intro to this. We're going to start at cognitive dissonance, and then I think I'm going to just rattle through a bunch of toxic hopes. So I think some examples of that is, what is karma as an ideology? And is it beneficial? This idea that everything happens for a reason, I understand why it would be comfortable to assume that any time we've been wronged or hurt, that there's a greater master plan. I want us to be able to sit with the possibility that maybe not. Maybe you weren't hurt to get stronger. Maybe you were just hurt because that was the environment, or that was someone's intention. And I understand why we have so many ideas. I mean, this idea that your abuse has made you stronger and kinder, even if it's true, we really have to sit with the idea that perhaps there was no greater meaning to any of this. And it's not just to, revel in nihilism, but I think a skill that we lack as a society is the ability to hold ideas that we don't want to be true with serious consideration. We are very dismissive, and I don't think that's helping us at all. But there's my intro. And I'll update you as this goes.